We unpack. We unpack. We unpack. Coming to you live. Boxing Ego unpack. Yeah. We unpack. We unpack. We unpack. Coming to you live.
Had no guys, had Max.
Oh, how the mighty have fallen. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Make sure you smash the like button. Also, subscribe to the channel for the latest and greatest in boxing. If you want to become part of the gang notification gang, please hit the bell icon. Shout out to the super chats, channel donations, the Venmo donations, the Cash App, and the Patreon family. We working. Head over to Patreon. I'm shifting some of the content over to the Patreon side of things. And also YouTube channel members, hit the join button to do that. You have those different options. Look into them, and it's a great way to support the channel. Now, another great way to support the channel, click the link in the description if you want to order UFC 249 on ESPN pay-per-view. You can use that link. It does help the channel. Should be a good fight. You know, I'm just craving some type of combat sport. So it's not Ferguson versus Khabib Nurmagomedov, which is what everyone wanted, but this is a really good in lieu of everything going around, because basically the bottom line, Khabib's in Russia, and he can't travel. You know, he can't get here and get his whole team here in a timely fashion, so they replaced it with Gaethje. But if you want to get the UFC 249 and you want to use that link, it does help the channel when you guys do that. Or you could get the ESPN Plus bundle that includes ESPN Plus, HULU, and Disney Plus. All three apps, one price, $12.99. Now, we got to talk about this because this is hilarious. Sports Illustrated, they just did an interview with DAZN reporter, and basically Gennady Golovkin had no marks, his punches tick, 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 nothing, right? He don't want to fight Canelo. You guys see it on the screen. Like, what am I, blind? What? Says Triple G wants tune-up fight before facing Canelo. Hold on. How they gonna just move the player like that? Golovkin ready to avenge Alvarez loss, but Szeremeta will come first. 3 hours ago. Wow. Let's get it. If you're new to the channel, I drop daily content, go live, cover the fights when they have live, you know, fights when we're not in pandemics or whatnot. And, you know, if you like the content, smash the like button. Now, it says, you know, and I really should use my trusted assistant, but I guess I'll read. Gennady Golovkin, Triple G Golovkin, is on the phone from his temporary quarters in LA, where he's living in self-quarantine with his wife and 3 young children. Quote, "I'm a law-abiding individual," he says through an interpreter. "I stay at home. You have to respect the law in place." So he's just chilling right now. Like me, like your boy. Like boxers, athletes, and humans everywhere, Golovkin finds his career stalled temporarily, a byproduct of these uncertain times. But Golovkin is not most boxers. He turned 38 last month and is far closer to the end of his decorated career than even the middle. He knows he doesn't have too many fights left, and he knows who handed him his only career loss. That was Saul Canelo Alvarez, September 2018. He also at least is aware that Alvarez and his team have been pushing for the 2 boxers to complete their trilogy immediately when sports returns. Right? It says, but while Golovkin intends to avenge his loss to Alvarez in the near future, he told Sports Illustrated that he plans to first face off against his mandatory challenger, the undefeated middleweight Kamil Szeremeta, right? Before meeting with Canelo for the 3rd time. Their first bout in 2017, which I covered, ended in a split decision draw. This is Golovkin. Look, we're going to read the quote. Okay. "I made a commitment before all this situation with the Rona happened," Golovkin said. "I'm talking about my fight with Szeremeta. I intend to keep my word once the situation changes. As soon as everything is back to normal, I intend to have this fight first." Pressed for additional detail, Golovkin pointed to the uncertainty surrounding every potential decision, from where to hold fights to whether to hold them in front of fans. He did not rule out fighting in an empty arena. He did not rule out anything, really, except for the related points he made clear repeatedly. He wants to fight that mandatory Szeremeta first, and then he wants to fight Canelo. And he wants to resume his career as soon as it's possible to do it safely. Golovkin also said he didn't particularly care for that Canelo's camp has said it would like to complete the trilogy in September, marking the return bout for both boxers on DAZN streaming service. Golovkin said the Team Alvarez delayed the bout last fall, forcing him at the point to sign an alternative contract, which he did with Szeremeta. While Alvarez decided to do a bout with Billy Joe Saunders, quote, "I should point out that there is always two sides," Golovkin said. They actually avoided this fight in September. They didn't want to fight in May of 2020. So I went my way. I have my own career, and I figured, how long should I wait? Beyond that, Golovkin didn't offer much in way of specifics. Until he can resume training, until he can actually step foot inside a boxing gym, he can't even prepare for a fight, let alone actually have one. In 2019, Golovkin won twice, topping Steve Rolls, yada, yada, yada. Following his first defeat, and he beat Sergey Deryevchenko by decision. Both bouts, Golovkin didn't look exactly like Golovkin, the power puncher who tied a Bernard Hopkins record with 20 straight title defenses in the middleweight division because he won the vacant IBF blah, blah, blah titles against Deryevchenko. Listen, Golovkin says, "It would mean a lot to me. It would be special. This would be something for the first time in history." He's asked if he's blown out the candles on his cake forced him to consider his legacy. His career is winding down to avenge the loss, the rival he so desperately wants to beat. Wouldn't besting Szeremeta and then avenging Alvarez mark the perfect way to go out? He wouldn't cop to that either. Quote, "I've been thinking about my career all the time. I've been thinking about it when I was 20 years old, but regardless of that, I have ideas. I'm in great shape. I'm in a great mood, and I'm very, very positive. It's possible that both fights could take place in 2020, depending on the sport itself and its return. Just don't expect a return with Alvarez Golovkin 3. Listen, as I've been telling you, the DAZN curse strikes again. Smash the like button. That DAZN curse is crazy. Listen, the reason I say the DAZN curse strikes again, you got to look at it. So Golovkin, since let's say 2017, about 2017, right? Golovkin has called for the Canelo fight. I'm talking about before the first fight. He called for the Canelo fight, said, "Hey, no, guys, I want to fight him. Give me my belts. This guy has something I want. I'm the mandatory, blah, blah, blah." And he put a lot of pressure on Canelo, as did myself, new media, and, just fans. Fans wanted to see that fight at that time. Then, about 2018, Canelo was he knocked out Amir Khan. They had a voluntary defense per Canelo's choice, not Golovkin. Golovkin wanted to fight Canelo like ASAP. But Golden Boy and the WBC, because Golovkin was the mandatory or whatever for Canelo's belt, because Canelo had just beat Cotto, right? Golovkin had pushed for the fights, says he wants to fight, or he wanted a unification, whatever it was, right? And they decided to do voluntary defenses. They both got past him by knockout. Canelo again fought Amir Khan and knocked snot out of his nose. And then Canelo, well, that's who Canelo fought, Amir Khan. And then Golovkin fought Dominic Wade. I went to both of those fights. And Dominic Wade, he got knocked out in 2 rounds. So they were supposed to fight that September. If I'm not mistaken, 2016, 2017. Excuse me if my dates aren't right. I know the months are correct. But anyway, Canelo was going through a lawsuit, and he said, "I'm not going to be pressured by these artificial deadlines." You know what? I should just pull this up. Canelo drops WBC belt, artificial deadlines. Just so you guys can have something to look at. Look. Boom. We got action. Oh, gosh. So, Canelo vacates USA Today. You see that? Just so this is how thorough I am with this new media stuff. Yeah, I'm surgical with this bitch. Jay, You know I'm surgical. So just to corroborate what I'm saying, it's that easy for me to just pull it up as I'm saying it to you. So there's nothing to misconstrue. So you can't say, oh, Ego, you hating on Canelo, you doing this and that, because the proof is in the pudding, as Bill Cosby would say. Canelo Alvarez vacates WBC belt to avoid, quote, artificial deadlines for Triple G fight. Lineal Ring Magazine champ Canelo Alvarez has decided to vacate his WBC belt as a WBC's 15-day deadline to get a unification fight done with mandatory challenger. So I said mandatory. Gennady Golovkin draws near. So everything I said to this point, it checks out, right? Alvarez coming off explosive knockout of Amir Khan. Told you, said snot came out of his nose. And he said he did not want to be negotiating the fight with Golovkin under, quote, artificial deadlines. Canelo released a statement on Wednesday. Boom. You see that? It says, after much consideration, today I instructed my team at Golden Boy Promotions to continue negotiating a fight with Gennady Golovkin and to finalize the deal as quickly as possible. But I also informed the WBC that I will vacate its title. For the entirety of my career, I have taken fights that no one wanted because I fear no man. Never has that been more true than today. I will fight Triple G and I will beat Triple G, but I will not be forced into the ring by artificial deadlines. I am hopeful that by putting aside this ticking clock, the two teams can now negotiate the fight, and Triple G and I could get in the ring as soon as possible and give the fight fans what they want to see. So in all intents and purposes, that was a damage control way of saying we don't want to fight Golovkin next. Point blank, period. Because Canelo's next fight was at 154 instead of 160 against Liam Smith, not Golovkin. So you didn't want to keep negotiating with Golovkin. So that's a quick timeline, and I don't know how quick it was, but that's a chronological order of what happened. But like I said at the beginning of this video, oh, how the mighty have fallen. So Golovkin went from the hunter to the hunted. Now he's been pushing for the Canelo fight. Then he fought Canelo, of course, and it was a draw. I thought he won the first fight, and people felt different types of ways, but it was a close fight. The judges gave it to Canelo. Adelaide Bird's scorecard was horrendous, and Golovkin, people felt he was robbed in the first fight. So it was like, cool. That drew the need for a rematch. Then Canelo fails a drug test with clenbuterol. They scheduled a rematch for the following May. Canelo said he wanted the quote-unquote Mexican dates. They scheduled it for the next May. The first fight was in September. Then Canelo fails a drug test with clenbuterol. February 17th and February 20th, he had failed tests of that particular year. So February 17th, February 20th, failed for clenbuterol. Canelo was sidelined, didn't have to pay any fines, but he was put on the sideline to serve a suspension, basically, a ban for failing a drug test. He said he ate the meat, and the meat in Mexico was tainted, whatever. Golovkin wanted to keep the date, save the date, so he ended up fighting Vanes Martirosyan when people like Demetrius Andrade had called him out and said he would fill in for Canelo. Guys like Zurdo Ramirez had offered. Bob Arum and Team Zurdo Ramirez at the time said they would fight Golovkin on Cinco de Mayo, but he opted for Vanes Martirosyan. Now you could see this is kind of the beginning and the end. So it was like, okay, this is not a great look. Then Canelo and Triple G, they did fight in September. Canelo finished his clenbuterol suspension, and Golovkin beat Vanes Martirosyan, I think, a second round knockout. I was at the fight, but I don't really remember. I know it was quick. I think it was second round. And they fought in September. This time, Canelo, he was doing year-round drug testing at the time to try to prove that he was clean and all this stuff. And he had a great game plan, him and Eddie Reynoso, Chepo Reynoso. And I thought he was really bringing it to Golovkin. And Golovkin, did all this wolfing, him and Abel Sanchez, about had no guys and Mexican style, everybody, Mexican, all this Mexican style. And they got in there with a Mexican who really was about that life and came to him with the energy he said he wanted. He said, yeah, absolutely. He does all that good boy shit. And Golovkin was making it sound like he wanted it with Canelo. Canelo, awesome fighter, did a great job pushing Golovkin back for the better part of, I would say, 8 rounds. Then Golovkin, he did show some signs of life in the round 9 through 12. He even hurt Canelo. He landed some big shots. So that being said, Canelo still won because he won more rounds, even though Golovkin, he showed some heart late, hurt Canelo late, and, went out on his shield a little bit instead of it looking like the first half of the fight. And Canelo does what he has done a lot in his career, which is fatigue in the second half of fights, which is why he'll never be like Floyd Mayweather. I'm just here to give you guys the cut and dry, no beating around the bush. So Golovkin HBO went out of business. I'm got to give you guys the whole shebang, so you can't say, I'm not telling you what went on. HBO went out of the boxing business. They said, we're done. So Canelo Triple G 3, if I'm not mistaken, was their last pay-per-view. And they had a couple more regular fights on HBO, got out of the business. So that left Canelo and Triple G in free agency, right? So they became free agents and they needed a home. Golovkin and Canelo were sought out by all of the top dogs. Triple G, for his part, coming off of a loss, he was wanted by DAZN, PBC, and ESPN. PBC and ESPN offered what they offered. Golovkin ended up going to DAZN. Enter the DAZN curse. So I'm telling you this whole story so we can fast forward to the future. This is how many peaks and valleys, how up and down this whole Canelo Triple G stuff has been. This is over the span of several years. At first, Golovkin, like I said, was the hunter. He was kind of chasing Canelo, who was still fighting at Canelo weight of 155. But he went through all of this to now come to interviews with Sports Illustrated, and it's a pandemic, and Golovkin and Canelo fought their last fights right around the same time. Golovkin fought in October, and Canelo fought in November against Kovalev. Golovkin fought against Derevyanchenko. But the difference is Canelo got a knockout, and that I guess saved his performance, even though to me it looked FAF. But Golovkin, you could tell there's some uncertainty with him, and I don't know if the hunger or the drive's there. I don't know if he felt weird in the ring and he really got hurt, because Golovkin and Abel Sanchez had prided themselves, and I told you this is not a good look. They had constantly told the media in Golovkin's reign, or whatever you want to call it, when HBO was really pumping him up and all that. They had told everybody who would listen, Golovkin has never been dropped. Golovkin has never been stopped and knocked out, and he's never been hurt. And I told you guys from a boxing perspective, I don't actually like to hear that. It sounds good, but these guys aren't comic book heroes. They're not the Avengers or whatever. So I don't want to hear that a guy he's never been hurt. You know why? Because when you get in that position, then what do you do if someone is able to hurt you? And we've seen Derevyanchenko was able to hurt Golovkin, and he didn't look good, and he really should have lost that fight after dropping Derevyanchenko earlier in the fight. So I don't like when a guy hasn't been hurt, because that means you haven't dealt with that type of adversity. Like Floyd Mayweather is TBE and he's been hurt, but that's great because he knows how to survive. He knows how to react. He knows how to keep calm and composed. Golovkin, he was spilling about almost and looked really withered and wilted, and the referee jumped in the middle. I don't know why they're showing all pictures of looking like Golovkin's destroying Derevyanchenko, because Derevyanchenko was on his ass. But anyway, so I never liked that talk from Golovkin, talking about he was never hurt before. And he did all this, and the great thing is, like Allstate, are you in good hands? You're in good hands with new media. I promise you that. Because you notice people, like old media constantly says the opposite of what I say. True. But what I say, a lot of it, you see it coming true. You hear fighters and trainers and former champions and stuff corroborate what I'm saying. But more importantly, people's actions, they actually corroborate what I'm saying. I'm telling you, and I've told you since October, after this fight you see on the screen, Sergey Derevyanchenko and Golovkin happened, I told you that Golovkin lost that fight. I told you Golovkin didn't look good. Even in the Steve Rolls fight, he was getting tagged up in that fight against an inexperienced guy who never fought a 12-rounder and never fought out of Canada. He wasn't like this world traveler where he had a lot of experience, right? So we've seen a regression. I told you these things on my channel, and look at the actions. So people in old media say, oh, you're hating, you're lying, boom, boom, boom. But you can't hide people. You could try to have ulterior motives, and hide your intentions, but you can't hide actions. The actions are there for everybody to see. So Golovkin is actually corroborating what I'm saying. He got kicked out he went to Snack to try it out. So why all of a sudden he was training in Big Bear? Why all of a sudden with Gennady Golovkin all of a sudden try to go to Snack and try something new? Then he gets kicked out of the Snack program, and this is before the pandemic. Then they said he's supposed to fight Kamil Szeremeta, and he pulls out saying, because he was already supposed to fight him before the pandemic and the shutdown, the NBA shutdown, and because the NBA shutdown is really what kind of triggered everybody, and then everyone started taking it real serious. But he was supposed to fight Szeremeta in February. So that was before the major shutdown in March. But guess what? He didn't. He pulled out, said he had a calf injury. Look, I could pull all this stuff up. See, this why people come to the channel, because you know you're getting that raw. Injured. Pull out. Boom. ESPN. Gennady Golovkin has calf injury, again delaying his next fight. February 2020. So this was before the NBA shutdown in March. So guess what? Gennady Golovkin, he seems like his body's breaking up. He's not feeling it. He's trying to explore new options, go to Snack, then getting kicked out of the Snack program. Then they saying he has a calf injury. Now Golovkin is saying, after chasing Canelo and saying he wants the rematch and all this and that and the third, now he's saying, guess what? I'll fight Alvarez, but just not next. And now you have Alvarez, who's finally come to the table and says he will fight Golovkin. Look, Canelo Alvarez. Look, I pull all this stuff up for you. Canelo Alvarez says Gennady Golovkin not really a challenge, open to a third fight. Okay, so that's one. But he did say he didn't want to fight Golovkin as well. Look. You know, I could pull all this stuff up. You know, you just have to type in the certain keywords. Right? Hold on. Does not represent a challenge. Here it is. We got some action. We fought 2 times, 24 rounds, and I already beat him. Right? So this is Canelo. This is last year. We fought 2 times, 24 rounds. I beat him, so he represents no challenge. Canelo, oh my gosh, these pop-ups though. Says, how do you get that off? Okay. He represents no challenge. Canelo Alvarez dismisses notion of trilogy fight with Gennady Golovkin. See? That's all you have to do. He says it represents no challenge. Why should I rematch him? Look, the fight presents no challenge, Canelo told the Independent. You know, I'll go to their site because they're the first ones. See, I could pull all this stuff up. You know, it takes, a couple seconds. Canelo Alvarez dismisses third fight. See? Boom. We got action. Canelo Alvarez, you see it in the flesh. Live, West Side, baby. Canelo Alvarez dismisses third fight with Golovkin and insists Derevyanchenko beat Triple G. Shut that off. So he said, we saw it. Obviously for me, Derevyanchenko won the fight. Canelo said, look, we saw it. Obviously for me, Derevyanchenko won the fight. So he believes Derevyanchenko. So Canelo's agreeing with me that this man beat Golovkin. And he says this don't represent a challenge. I'm on to other things. I don't really care about Golovkin. All of last year. Now, this is why I say DAZN curse. Fast forward to the future. Canelo Alvarez is now saying, I'll fight Golovkin. Okay, fine. Line them up. Because Golden Boy and Oscar De La Hoya, I think, promised this to DAZN. DAZN has been pushing for the fight. And now Golovkin ain't on board with fighting Canelo. Now Golovkin ain't on board fighting Canelo next. I mean, this is chaotic, man. This is haphazard. Oh my God. That's why Golovkin don't want to fight Canelo next. Oh my gosh. That's going to be Golovkin body. Ha, ha. Ha, ha, ha. Oh my gosh. Huh, huh. Yeah, huh. See? I mean, this is just tragic for old media. It's tragic. They did all this stuff saying Golovkin won the second fight and asked people at press row, and now Golovkin don't even want to fight Canelo. Canelo just knocked out Kovalev. See, this would now everything that I said is now been vindicated. You know, for the haters and old media and the people who thought what I was saying made no sense. Because Canelo, he won his last fight, Kovalev fight at 175 by stoppage. Meanwhile, Golovkin looked like he was about to get dropped or maybe even stopped versus Derevyanchenko. And he's getting tagged in the Rolls fight. He was getting tagged versus Derevyanchenko. And now he don't want to go into the Canelo fight because he probably feels he's cold. He probably feels he's not in the best shape and stuff like that. So just more, this is just, hey, shout out to Canelo and Triple G because they got DAZN. They got one over because they getting all the money and, you know, it's like musical chairs with these fights. Canelo getting bread. Golovkin, they said he's getting $15-18 million a pop on his DAZN contract with equity, you know, and the ability to put Triple G promotion fights on the card. And these two are playing musical chairs, not fighting each other. And now to the point where no one even cares about the fight like that. But there, you know, there's a couple people that might want to still see it. And now Golovkin's saying, boom, he insists on fighting. Look, he insists on fighting Kamil Szeremeta. This is sad. This is sad. He said, I have a commitment. I have a commitment with Szeremeta. Like, you can't just pay him a little bit of step aside money. And that's the funny part about old media is they say all this stuff. Wilder need to step aside for Joshua Fury, but Wilder clearly is going to want his belt back. And they don't say Kamil Szeremeta need to step aside for Canelo Triple G3. Listen, I don't even care about that fight. You know, I'm just saying in general, it's a better fight than Triple G versus Szeremeta. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be bigger than that. But Triple G is robbing the bank and getting the 15 mil or whatever from DAZN. And DAZN, they don't even have no content right now. What's going on, man? Man, what's good? What's really good? DAZN ain't even got no content right now. And then now Canelo finally agrees. And Triple G, he taking the back door out and saying he not going to be ready by September. Why? You have your own gym, I'm sure, or access. You got millions, so I'm sure you have access to a private facility that you and your family or trainer can go to. If you're worried about that, you can stay in shape. Canelo's doing it. Canelo, you know, I'm on his page right now. He's in the gym. He's in shape. They know Canelo is too monstrous right now. Look, he's too monstrous for Golovkin. I don't know about some of the other guys, but see, look, see, he don't want that, he don't want Iowa's bar, right? He don't want that, he don't want that, oh my gosh. So yeah, man, DAZN got to get it together. You know, last year Canelo didn't want to fight Golovkin, and Golovkin said he wanted to fight. That's why he signed to DAZN. Then this year, Canelo said, "All right, fine, whatever, I'll fight him. I just knocked out Kovalev, bring him. You know, he don't represent a challenge. Derevyanchenko beat him, but I'll fight him." Now Golovkin saying, "No way, hey guys, wait, Szeremeta," and that's not even a big fight, especially coming off a pandemic. That's a trash fight, you know. And listen, old media, you notice. A lot of people, they're going to sugarcoat it. Like even the Sports Illustrated article, they're not, man, I'm giving it to you real. I'm telling you what it is and what it ain't. They're like trying to sugarcoat it. Oh, Golovkin, he wasn't really like Golovkin. He wasn't himself that night versus Derevyanchenko. Man, he didn't look good. Why is this world so complicated where people want to, you know, teeter around what's real? Listen, I'm not saying it in a disrespectful. Golovkin's probably a great person. I'm just saying he didn't look good in the Steve Rolls fight, getting tagged by a guy at that level at a catch weight and who had been inexperienced for big fights. And then he definitely didn't look good in the Deryachenko fight. There's nothing wrong with me saying that. You know, I'm not disrespecting him as a man or anything like that. But you notice that people like Sports Illustrated, this article, they're like, oh, Golovkin, and let this be Floyd Mayweather or Wilder, they would be called all types of B's and P's and cowards, and they're ruining their legacy and career. Now they're openly letting Gennady Golovkin, after he's been stalking Canelo, dear Nello, I wrote you, but you still ain't calling. I left my cell phone pager and my home phone at the bottom. I sent you, you know, he was on his stand stuff stalking this man, and now Canelo said, all right, whatever. I was born ready, and now he don't, and all of a sudden he ain't stand no more. But last year and previous years, that's all Golovkin was talking about. Something's going on. Because, dear Nello, I wrote you, but you still ain't calling. I left my cell phone and my pager at the bottom. I sent you 2 letters in autumn. You must not have got them. There probably was a problem at Golden Boy or something. What's been up, man? How's your daughters? I'm about to have a daughter. Guess what I'm going to call her? I'm going to call her Redhead. Man, this is just insane. The zone curse strikes again, like I've been saying. Everything I've been saying is vindicated. Canelo says he's ready, but Golovkin won't be ready. He's blaming on the pandemic. But you could have already fought Szeremeta in February like you were supposed to, but you had a calf injury. This is making me not want to watch the Canelo Triple G fight part 3 even more so now, because Golovkin does not sound hungry. He does not sound ready, and he does not sound like he's going to beat Canelo. Listen to what he's saying. This is not me. You can't get mad at me. This is him. He's saying this. He does not sound like he's ready for all smoke. He's talking about, oh, I got to get ready and I want to go through. Just so you guys know, do you all even know who Kamil said? I'm about to turn to Ego Valley. Y'all got me hyped. Kamil Szeremeta. Do y'all even know who he is, bro? That's what I'm saying. And old media ain't saying nothing. They want Triple G to fight Kamil Szeremeta. Look, he has 21 fights and he got 5 knockouts. 21 fights. He's 5'9.5", shorter than Golovkin, no power, 30 years old, no resume. Look, what's his KO percent? Look, 23 like Jordan. His knockout percentage is 23, and this is who Golovkin is insisting on fighting. Ooh, this is sad. This is sad. But holla at my links in the description. Go to the Patreon, hit the join button, become a YouTube channel member. We got it going on. We about to build that up. And, you know, also get the ESPN Plus UFC 249 pay-per-view. ESPN pay-per-view, or just get the bundle in general. It does help the channel when you guys click on that link. Let me know what you guys think of Triple G now, not ready for Canelo. This is just sad, and we'll see if old media starts talking about it. You know, as soon as Wilder says this or whatever, you know, Floyd Mayweather fights Berto, it's all hell breaks loose. Now all of a sudden, Triple G's making painstakingly obvious moves that he's like robbing a bank and kind of just trying to get money and cash out before the Canelo fight, and they ain't saying nothing. On top of that, Triple G really should have lost his last fight. Oh man, it's going down. Oh! So if you enjoyed this video and want more content like this on the channel, you can show your appreciation by going to the PayPal donate button or the YouTube support button, and you can donate any amount that you feel is equivalent to the value of this video. Much more to come. Thank you guys for your support. Boxing Ego, the future of boxing.